Hey guys, how's it going out there? We got an action-packed show, complete with random weather and dinner data. You don't like that? Well, get stuffed. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Let's see who we got out there today on the panel. We got any QE cuties? Is Betty out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sound off.
I'm the cutest cutie that there is.
That's right. That's right. We're off and rolling, man.
We got another cutie here.
Who might that be?
Yeah, the Meekin.
Did he not see that picture? Did he not see that picture in the war room? I posted. How cute was I in 1991?
I did see it. I couldn't tell.
Want that shell suit.
I couldn't tell which one you were. Were you on the far left?
That was Taz, the guy that looked like a 9/11 bomber, with dodgy shades included. Now he's a doctor now. Yeah. Just for people who know, there was only one white guy in the picture. Just out of curiosity.
You're a little hot, Adam. I have to turn you down.
You saw that picture, you know how hot I am.
Mic
check, mic check.
Here we go with the mic checks. Good one. Adam, you're a little hot, man. You need to stay at the same, I'm going to be a Nathan on you. You need to stay at the same depth of your mic that you always are. No talking 10 feet away and 2 feet away. None of that.
I've moved the mic back. Is that a bit better?
Oh, geez. Now he's going to move it on me. Try it again.
I'm keeping the mic where it is, and I'm still talking the same. I'm still as excited about shell suits as I was then.
All right, who cares? I'm not worried about it anymore. Yeah. So,
already got a super chat going.
Really?
Yeah, from James Richard. He's back again, I see. Where would Flat Earth be without the historic QE?
Thanks you, James. Appreciate it. Good to have you back.
Maybe he was here before, but I haven't seen the super chat from him for a while. So. Are you still doing admin or what?
No, I'm just relaxing.
Relaxing?
That's right.
How can that be?
I can make it be. I'm in charge. I can do whatever I want.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's all sort of kick up, put up our feet up, and lay back.
Why can't we just all share moments of silence? What is so wrong with that?
Because usually when people are online, they tend to talk.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's creepy, right?
Isn't it? Yeah. They tend to talk, yeah.
It needed to be in today's after show today, Betty. There was a moment where Nathan asks I don't say baller anymore, anti-flat earther a question. It goes all quiet. It goes all quiet. And then Owen goes, shh, just like little bit of wind noise, and he called us all creepy, and that's why he didn't want to. That was his defense from that point on. Instead of answering,
Guys are spooky.
Yeah. Instead of answering whether or not, like a plastic tube is whether an open container is a container, his point of defending the ball was to call us creepy. It's the state of the ball today. High class.
Unbelievable.
It's not much fun from a debating point of view, but from a where we've come from point of view, days like that are great. You know what I mean? When all they've got is stuff like that. He even said that he wouldn't answer the question whether an open container is a container or not, because it's a loaded question. It was a loaded question.
Well, in a sense, it is, of course. Yeah, he's sort of right? Because we all know what a container is. You can't go any other way.
Yeah, it was loaded with gas.
Isn't there one word in that
Wow.
that says what it is? One word. Isn't there that one word, very specific word, and what it is?
The one after open.
Yeah, yeah. It starts with a C.
Yeah.
All right, let me get
Sorry to bring up Creek.
I'm gonna get squared away up in here. Thanks for that, Paul. You nearly blew my eardrums out.
Well, usually it's the other way around, right?
Yeah, it is.
You're a bit
Glad
quiet.
to hear
Hewitt.
Paul again.
Say again.
I said, I'm glad I can hear Paul for once.
What did?
You actually got.
Hold on a second, Paul. Go ahead, Adam. What'd you say?
You're a bit quiet.
Yes, I am. Turn me up. That's
Light
what.
my fire.
That's why they have volume control knobs.
You guys want to wish those on women, I think, so that you can turn those up.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Very intuitive,
All I was
buddy.
gonna say. All I was gonna say is I've got a new Bluetooth, so that might be why I'm coming in clear. New Bluetooth.
I
All
hope I
right.
have some white teeth. But,
All right, so I promised everyone at the beginning of the show that there'll be some random weather and dinner data. So, in the Netherlands, what's the weather like? Quickly.
quickly, well, it can rain and it can be sunshine. And now it's going to get a little bit darker earlier because of time issues. And but now it's dry. But it's a little bit cold for the time of the year.
So, is darkness weather data?
Well, it is sort of difficult to see if it's getting darker. What kind of weather you got? You can't say that the sun is up, for example.
Woo! Look at the time.
Yeah.
In England.
Now,
Oh
Today.
God.
it's lovely, and we've got prospects of a nice couple of weeks. But over the weekend, it was absolutely tipping it down. In fact, Sunday afternoon, a bloke went by in a boat. Yeah, his wife, 3 kids, loads of animals just went past my front window. It was raining that much, mate. So, fingers crossed we've got a couple of weeks of nice weather, and it's clement skies this evening. 20 degrees C, mostly sunny, according to Google.
Okay, that'll be about it. Dinner, Betty.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What was for dinner?
I had some rice with Chinese sour pork strips.
That doesn't sound too bad. Did you have some sauce with that?
That's the sour sort of sweet sour sauce they have.
Sweet, and it already had it on it. You didn't have any on a side or anything, right?
No, they make it that way.
Ah,
And there was some leftovers from the before last week that was in the fridge, and I took that out and reheated it. And it was quite enough and good still. So yeah, enjoy that.
okay. You know what's coming, Adam.
It's a mixed bag this evening, if I'm being honest with you. I had to pay back. what I was being offered. So I ended up just having a standard prawn salad with Mary Rose sauce. A little bit of bread. We didn't, to be honest, I was a bit of a heathen. We didn't have any brown bread, and frankly, white bread, you should be having brown bread with a prawn cocktail. So that was it. But the reason I had to pay back was I called in this afternoon to the shop, a couple of shops down. It's run by Iraqis, and I've known him for years. But he's been running one of the shops, and he'd brought a huge buffet in. So I had loads of gorgeous stuff, which was like flatbread, and then he made it all for me. He said, no, let me make it. And he stuffed it with like rice, this bean sauce, spicy bean sauce, this beautiful chicken. Oh, it was so tender, John. Oh, the dog's telling me, my wife's home, sorry, it's all right, Phoebes. So that, and then some beautiful salads, which had pomegranate seeds in it as well, which was beautiful. So, yeah. Couldn't describe it much more than that, but yeah, that's why I had to pay back this evening. So just basically a prawn cocktail for me.
It's so refined. It's like listening to the rich and famous menus from Adam Meakin.
What I'd like to point out, I am not the sophisticated and vaccinated. Yeah. I just like good fresh food, mate. The muck you get served, so much better fresh, isn't it? Real
Yes.
food.
Yeah, it's understandable. I've been on a Pico de Gallo trip. I've been having Pico de Gallo with everything.
I thought, right, I had something to tell my wife, intelligent or something. So I tell her about the cilantro, coriander, English Americanism. She knew straight away. Just blew me out of the water. It's rubbish. When like you think you're going to unveil something.
Yes.
Flat as a pancake. Flat as the earth. On the analogy.
Go ahead, Betty.
Go ahead with what?
We got some admin.
Do we?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I thought it was the same one as the last. Sorry. We got another one from James Richards, and he says, I'm trying to look at the time, but it keeps bending. Yeah.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Yeah, the time's bent. Yeah, but what's bending? Is it the light bending when you're looking at the clock, or is the clock time and it's bending?
I think it's the gas that's bending.
Oh, we have Nathan
I could agree
Oakley.
with either.
We have Nathan Oakley out there in chat. I'm sure he's monitoring the sound closely. Hopefully, I got that squared away. He says, Cinco de Mayo. You Cinco de Mayo. You Cinco de sandwich into de Mayo, right?
Sounds more like Neil, that does.
Yeah, I think that's a numpty clip. I think that already played. I think it's Sly Sparkane. That was too funny. All right, what do we got, Nathan? Give me a sound check. How's it sounding out there? Let's do a little admin. Take your time. Radio check. Lost 3. This is lost 1, and you lost 2 over. Go ahead, Adam. Give him a radio check.
Well, let me sit back so I'm at the correct position.
He's still
talking
talking.
the hot dog into the mayo. That's what Nathan's response is it? Yeah.
Just being silly. Sounds ace.
Sounds
Good.
ace.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yep. Did a lot of work on that.
Yeah, and then your whole mic system went down.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. The whole sound system went down, but that wasn't because of what me and Nathan did. It was an ancillary issue. It was correlated. Yeah, that's pretty funny, huh, Jim West? You like forks in my eyes too? Yeah, everything went. It just went bonkers. Everything from Skype to Audacity, everything went into just haywire.
Yeah, we couldn't even talk over Skype.
Yeah, we couldn't talk over Skype. It was a nightmare.
Was that from the weather storm that you had the other day?
No, it was a software issue. But I bypassed it. I deleted it and then bypassed it.
He whole bypassed the whole software.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, Don. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll copy that.
So, what are we going to talk about today? It seems like terrestrial refraction should be the topic, shouldn't it?
Well,
Refraction?
Oh, here we go. Somebody else come in new, right? He's like 10,000 times louder than everyone else. Let me see who he is.
So my new mic's working.
Flatzoid, my God.
Well, he just got everybody turned up.
it seems that everybody's loud today.
Yeah.
For me too.
Well, I think when your stuff went down, Kiwi, it set it back to default. You may had everybody turned down before everything crashed.
No, turn
I do
up.
have a new,
So
have a new
go ahead,
mic.
Flatzoid. Give us a radio check so you're okay.
Testing 1, 2. I do have a new mic, so that could also be the problem.
Nope, you sound good, man.
Back up.
Okay, cool.
Back up. Just back off a foot like I got shouted at for earlier. Flatzoid. Hey, John.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. You've got Flatzoid here, and outside of the appalling timing issues of you two, both of you are on point here. We mentioned it in the debates today. Angular momentum to me. The two, whilst I say apart from the bad timings of the two, Flatzoid stuff, I think it's great for you to understand. You then take it apart in detail with citation. And it's lovely. The two work very well in synergy, your videos. Yesterday, from yesterday, and I missed the bit. I missed my appearance, John.
I know.
I've just listened to it before the show.
Oh, you did?
That was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd had a number of whiskeys, and I think it's only reasonable, having listened to that from now on for all debates, it should only be. It's a bit like when you have a handicap race, yeah. Got to make things equal. So I think most flat earthers should have drunk at least 10 units of alcohol before they're allowed to engage with a sober anti-flat earther, because that roughly might even the odds up of there being a fair debate. But they're screwed otherwise, mate. I was absolutely paralytic, and I could spot the nonsense. Thanks for putting that bit in. Of all the bits I've said in flat Earth, it's when I'm absolutely pissed at 1 in the morning.
I knew you.
Can you tell me where the radius is?
I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
Neil, you scream in that mic one more time, I'm gonna friggin' bubble your eye.
Came in hot.
Company leader in a Raven, talk to me, Johnny.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you, all right.
I'm in the car. Maybe that's it. I'll go on mute.
No, you're good. If you talk like that, you're good. You're fine.
But
Yeah,
thanks, John. That was funny.
You know what the irony was? There's some more irony, Adam, with me and Flatzoid. The irony was we were talking about the same thing at the same time because he decided to run his premiere at the same time as my numpty clap.
Sorry, and usually I do it at 9:30, but this time I decided at 9 for some odd reason.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We just got to work around the scheduling conflicts. Mine's too easy. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time. Tuesdays. Now it's Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and every other Saturday. In a few weeks, the Nupty clips are kind of going to slow down. So just on Tuesdays, it's just remember, just don't go around 2 p.m. You'll be good.
Like I said, outside of the scheduling error, the two work very well in synergy. Flatzoid, mate, I've not seen a better descriptions and put together for angular momentum, linear retentions of, and then like I say, if you then follow it up with what John's done, which is the full destruction, the two work fantastic. I think for anyone together, it's great. And like, it's funny, like I say, I don't think you were talking to each other, but like I say, the two work very well together. for
But
me.
we
It's
didn't.
great.
In fact, it was just like you said. It was ironic. We didn't talk to each other about it. It just so happened that we were talking about more or less the same thing.
Yeah, and I loved your take on it, Quantum. You did a very cool
Well, thank you.
spin
Appreciate
around
that.
in the way. Yeah.
Yep, I thought so. He's finished. Hillbilly. Did anyone check? Is his channel still up?
Well, he is ignoring me flat out, so
Yeah, somebody should check. I wouldn't be surprised if it was still up. His subscribers must be dumber than he is. After that numpty clip, it's. I don't know how to characterize it other than just eviscerating. And he did all the work. Incredibly
well,
stupid.
he's definitely the double speaking king. That's for sure.
Yeah, wow. Yep. We might, at the end of the today's show, we might play that again. It all depends. Depends on how I feel about it. We'll see how it goes. Gotta love that silence. I love it. Let's try some more. It'll get the viewers in.
I could soak it up quite comfortably, but the other person that respectfully has been describing this for a while is in chat as well, which is Brian.
Yep.
He's the only one that I know took the ballers on that topic for a long time, and they've run away from him. I think your two's videos equip most people to be able to now take on exactly what Brian was doing with his deeper understanding.
I think people
Yeah,
are
Brian.
starting to realize that are listening to it from the outside that what's happening here is, and I think I described this before, is that the majority of the numpties, what they're doing is pulling out like a 1956 physics glossary, and they're just poking, whatever term they poke at, they put that term or phrase and they spin it into their yarn, but it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. They have it's a scream and tell of where their background is. If you couldn't tell that from the numpty clip yesterday, I don't know what to tell you, because it was bad. If you don't think he's a pretender clown straight away, then you have issues.
Is Brian muted again?
Hey, everybody.
yeah,
Oh,
he's not.
goodness
Oh,
gracious.
Hey, you can hear me now.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to speak quiet so I don't get shouted at. Everyone else getting shouted at.
Everybody's
I
coming in
can't-
hot.
I can't turn down my microphone. I'm over.
No,
it
you're good.
because
You're
of the
sounding
star
good right
punch.
there. You're perfect. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, hello Kiwi, hello Betty, hello Adam, and everyone else. Yeah, that issue, that was too brilliant. I know they came out at the same time, and that shouldn't have happened. Flat side. But the two were really, really good, and yeah, and that topic of globiolis, which is where that is in the direction of, is kind of funny. I have to say, kind of funny, because basically the conservation of angular momentum requires you to be, if I'm not mistaken, on the thing that's rotating and not off of it. So I don't know how, and that completely contradicts there being any Coriolis effect at all. So I don't know where they're going to go with that one.
Yep. Not to mention it takes a linear path once it's left.
That's right. I remember saying it before that as soon as you leave that rotating reference frame, if you're holding on to a children's roundabout or something when you're young, as soon as you leave that, as soon as you let go, you go off at an angle in a straight line.
That's what we were talking about a yo-yo today. I'm not sure he was describing the yo-yo, but at the point you're spinning the yo-yo and it's conserving its angular momentum, and then the string snaps. It doesn't have any angular momentum anymore. It's just got conservation of the linear momentum at the point of release. That was what I thought was lovely with your bodyboarding skater dude. That's what that was great in your video. It kind of shows what linear momentum is, which is a continuation of the forward, any forward momentum. And the reason you've not got the forward is because you've got the string. And those, yeah, it was a. I'm gonna put it.
Well, it's
Yeah,
a double.
because to hold the angular momentum, you have to be going with the axis.
It's a double whammy. It just depends on what they're saying. Like Hillbilly was talking about there's only one reference frame, the non-inertial rotating reference frame. Well, if there's only one, which is preposterous, if there's only one non-rotating reference frame, then nothing can leave it. If you only have one thing, nothing can leave that place at the baseline, right? Which was hilarious. Not even speaking to the conservation of angular momentum, which has nothing whatsoever to do with an object in a non-inertial reference frame moving to an inertial reference frame. It has nothing to do with any angular momentum. That object doesn't. The angular momentum has to do with the rotating object, not the object leaving it. So it's just a pile of horse shit piled on top of each other. And then you got to dig your way out. If he would say anything like this to like 6th grade intro to physics, junior high, he'd get laughed out of the building. They'd escort him out with security. I'm telling you. That's how bad it is. So I don't know what to say. I mean, keep talking. That's what I have to. Please keep talking. Thank you.
Look, we've had for 5 years, 6 years. Yeah, but the reason we don't see Coriolis effect is conservation of angular momentum. That's been thrown in our faces for a while, and that's why it was great to have this clarified, both in terms of angular momentum and then how you've put it, John. The reference frame bit's even more destructive. But for me, the important bit, just the proper, correct definition of angular retention of angular momentum destroys their claim of how they try to bastardize it into their ball model to retain their fantasy world, as if retention of angular momentum could be applied. That's the thing that I got out of it, that I kind of thought it but not understood it, so I don't speak it, unlike a baller. If I don't understand something, I'm not going to claim it. But that's what's clear out of this to me. It is related to the object and its axis, nothing outside of that. And
right, exactly.
A long time they've used that against us, that lack of understanding of that specificity, to flim-flammers.
Well, I don't think. Go ahead.
You know where they're going to go. You know where they're going to go. They're going to go because of gravity. The aircraft or object or whatever we're talking about is tethered to the Earth.
That's preposterous.
So that would make. I know, but watch the discussion. Watch the discussion change. That's what we'll start saying.
But that's fine. But we need to get past, don't we? That actually we need that concession now. I think that's what's important. That we're not going to use.
That's what
yeah, go on, Platts.
Sorry, that's why I'm trying to get them to concede which vector is coming from this angular momentum. It goes totally against their gravity.
Yeah.
180.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of hard keeping all the begging the question fallacy conditions on one plate. It's preposterous on so many levels. And back to what Adam was saying, see, this conservation of momentum, this is a relatively new phenomenon. You heard inklings of it a couple years ago, but remember, they would just say conservation of momentum, because I remember busting people for saying it, and I'd ask them, what is the conservation of momentum, and then drop out of the call, right? And then would get some more conservation of momentum. And, you know, I'd go through the whole routine. I'd just ask them what it is. And no one has yet defined it. Have they? Has anyone defined the conservation of momentum? Of course, as soon as you say that, it's so ambiguous because there's two types, right? You have the conservation of linear momentum and then the law of conservation of angular momentum. And under angular momentum, you have two subtypes, spin and orbital. And under that, you have two conditionals, which is point and extended objects. So no one, you've never heard that before. Has anyone heard that before? I brought it up.
No.
Yeah, but not. And I think this is the point. Not to a point of full understanding of how that rhetoric fits within the ball paradigm. I think that's what I've gained this week between you two guys. Kudos to you both. Generally, that's we've all heard of these titles and that, and I think none of it, maybe from just apathy or laziness, because we're confident in our position, we've not needed to look them up. But like I say, from this point, we're well equipped to deal with that thingy now. So no, but yes, John. Is this
no, but definitely yes.
Oh yeah, but
I remember a Como virus. He was begging for you to tell him what are the two movements.
Right. Yep. But that was a while ago, right?
Well,
because he was the ones that brought it up. Before him, it was R.C. Meisty back in the day. Because he just began, you know, conservation of momentum. I said, can you define that? Bloop. Right out of the call. Right? I knew it. And it,
well,
go ahead.
Well, I'll say I doubt they'll understand which momentum it is if they don't even know what inertia is in the first instance.
Right. That
Centrifugal force. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that brings us to another point of Newtonian mechanics, even though it's all bunk. That I'm working in their paradigm, folks. It's so convoluted, right? If I talk about Newtonian mechanics, I'm talking about Newtonian mechanics in their paradigm. Just hopefully everyone's got that clear, right? Because Newtonian mechanics is debunked. We already been over that. But I have to entertain it to listen to their other nonsense and to bring these topics up because you're going to hear about them, right? And Newton's laws, even if they did exist, are invalid in a rotating reference frame. Didn't anyone know that? The ballers, do you know that? I don't think you do. Now, the condition where his laws are valid in the paradigm is in an inertial frame. So you guys, it's like I said, it's so muddied and muddled and it's a tangled web and everyone gets confused because there's so many cross currents. I hope that helped some people. If it didn't, just raise your hand and say, QE, that was a bunch of nonsense. Could you say that again?
That's good.
Go ahead.
We can't hear you, Paul.
Yeah, robot then dropped out, dude.
Yep. Hopefully everyone got that. So it's ridiculous on many, many levels. And I pointed them out. Like I said, make sure you're listening to the numpty clips because they're not just a thumb in the eye, right? It may seem like that superficially, but if you listen closely, you're going to hear their arguments. And then I'm going to systematically deconstruct them for you. So go back, rewind. It has a, rewind button or start over and go through. Hey, I didn't catch that. Let me listen to that again. Stop it, start it, rewind, go back through those things again. You'll get it. This stuff is not that difficult at all. It's only man that gets in there with his grubby little hands to try to make things difficult. It's not, especially with angular and linear momentum. Not at all. And you want me to I'll put another there's another little problem that I didn't bring up because I I thoroughly deconstructed it, and I didn't want to add anything else. People would just go, oh, God, there's another thing. There's a very special condition that must exist for the conservation of linear and angular momentum. And it depends on what system it is. It has to be a isolated system. Well, we got a big problem here because according to Georgia State, or I think it's Georgia State University, it's hyperphysics.edu. According to them, there are no isolated systems in nature. So that's just another layer, right, that just crushes it. So it's crushed on many different, from every angle that you come at it, you can just deconstruct and eviscerate it. So I shouldn't even brought that up, by the way, but I like to do it because it's fun. Right? And it has it right in the definition, by the way. And guess what they call it? With all conservation laws, there's a catch. That's how I'm telling you, it's in part of the definition. There's a catch. The catch is that it has to be an isolated system. Think about it. Yeah, but we ain't going to go down that road. I think we thoroughly destroyed it.
Well, I do want you to clarify on one bit, because I'd like to have it summarised. I've mentioned the bit that I liked, which is the kind of... just 1 second, the missus wants me. Just 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time, Al. We haven't heard too much from the QE cutie on the panel.
I'm going to tell him. You know what? You know what I was getting interrupted for there? She claimed I'd nicked her nuts. I mean, genuinely, live on air, I got my nuts nicked. There was a point of what I wanted to ask. That's why I've come back. I've kind of highlighted that what we've suffered is this acceptance of a misdefinition that they've used, and we've now got the full definition, so we can debunk that. But the bit you added on, the kind of the cherry on the top, the icing, the sprinkles, the little sprinkles, yeah, on the top is what you've said, which is the reality that all of this is within the reference frames. And I kind of get it, but not to do it justice. So will you just reiterate that point, because that's double devastating. On top of, you can't apply this here. It's not even within the physics that you're suggesting. That to take it out of the realm is double slap to me.
Well, let's get the official. I don't want to butcher it or paraphrase it. I'll have to go track it down. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, QE cutie, while I'm looking for this.
With what?
Ah, there she is. I said, haven't heard too much from the QE cutie, and then Adam just come.
Anyway, so that doesn't matter. And I'm listening to the big guys here, and I'm enjoying myself listening to this.
Okay, I just wanted to say hi, and we hadn't forgot about you.
I'm still here.
I know you are.
Sorry if I rumpus you, Betty. That's a demonstration that a man can't multitask, trying to hold two conversations at once.
Well, it demonstrates that men have a sort of a button that can sort of switch off women's sounds.
Now, it shows you that I might play the big man on here, yeah, but as soon as the missus turns up, I shit it.
Well, you tune her out as well, right? I mean, that's the thing that you guys do.
I could turn it around if she was listening, saying that she's more important than anything.
Unless she's making an hysterical sound, that's sort of like the alarm bell with you guys. And then you know that your yes and no didn't do a good job.
I told you what she came up for. She thought I'd nicked her nuts. Genuinely, she thought I nicked her mixed nuts.
When I heard that first time, I thought that you said something totally different, and I was sort of like shocked.
This is a just a reminder. It's a family show.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not going to say what I heard. So I think people get it.
All right, I tracked this down. That was hard to find. I need to put this in a better spot. like I said, the concept of momentum conversation. Momentum conversation. Do we have momentum conversations?
Yes, we do. We just had one.
The concept of momentum conservation comes from and is in direct consequence, obviously, of Newton's third law. However, from Boston University Physics Department, listen to this closely, folks. A good question to ask is, do Newton's laws apply all the time? In most cases, they do. But if we're trying to analyze motion in an accelerated reference frame, that is the non-inertial spinning reference frame, while we're spinning around, like he said would be a good example, that is a non-inertial reference frame, then Newton's laws are not valid. A reference frame in which Newton's laws are valid is known as an inertial reference frame.
Can I ask the question? Can I ask the question? Can you hear me, QE?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, ask it.
I've been starting to ask this question to the baller. How could you ever prove Newton in an eccentric paradigm that things will stay at rest, will be at rest until acted upon by a force, is that everything's accelerating? How could you prove that? You can't, right? You understand that? Because the inertial reference frame does not exist.
You were chopping for me, Paul. I'm sorry. Can you drop out, pop back in again?
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, so folks, when Hillbilly Blue Ball said that there's only one reference frame, the non-inertial whenever you hear non-inertial reference frame, that's the rotating reference frame, if anyone was confused with that. Right? So as soon as he said there was only one reference frame, then you don't even need this definition that I just gave you that told you that Newton's laws are not valid in the rotating reference frame. But you don't even need that. It's intuitive that if you have only one reference frame, let's say a rotating reference frame, that which is in that, you can't leave that reference frame, so everything in that reference frame is rotating, according to him. Just think about that now. Go ahead.
Andy said the ball leaves the Earth's surface.
Exactly.
I mean, really?
Yeah, that doesn't. It's meaningless. If you say there's only one reference frame, then is it leaving anywhere? Because it's still in that rotating reference frame, right? It's non sequitur. It's hard to get your mind. It's hard to even argue it because it's so stupid. Oh well. Hey,
can you hear me now, QE?
Yeah, go ahead and make it quick, Paul, because we're gonna move on to actual substance of the show for today.
Sorry, just real quick. I've been asking the ballers, like one of Newton's laws is things will stay at rest unless it's acted upon by a force. I said, how would you ever prove that in a heliocentric Einstein paradigm? Because everything is accelerating.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Geodesics.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and which means the inertial reference frame does not exist and cannot exist in the heliocentric paradigm.
It's worse than that because they're actually. I've had a couple of them claim that inertia is not caused by weight. So when something is weightless, it still has inertia. How could it resist an acceleration or have any resistance to an acceleration when it doesn't have weight?
Then what's weight?
It's like it's them bringing mass into it. It's like mass without any weight, which means mass out in the middle of space in their world. Still has inertia. It has no weight. You need weight to have inertia.
What's weight?
Well, it's a calculated amount of matter within.
No, it's not.
If you want me to get into it,
this is the bullshittery. Weight is what we experience, what we know, everything. The trouble we have, and the way they have us, is they have us upside down. What we should struggle to explain is what the thing we experience and know to be true, how it would be experienced in the fantasy realm of space with no apologetic G there, which is supposedly its cause. That's how the others that we try to explain. We know what weight is. Yeah, pick something up. What's its weight? You know what it is. That's reality. Stop misconstruing that you need G to define it. There's no G. There never has
Weight.
been a G. There's always been weight.
Yeah, weight is just simply a unit they gave for a measurement on a that's force pushing onto a surface. It's easy as that. It's not actually anything other than just density.
Something's weight creates its inertia. We know what weight is. Stop trying to redefine it in some mathematical construct or something other than what works as a convention, which is sticking it on the scales. It works. That's what a weight is. It's what it weighs. Don't try to be pseudo-intellectual.
Yeah, but the gig is up.
That's the mugging off.
Adam, the gig is up. They had to define it because weight in their paradigm is W equal mg. Mg love you long time. They can't get out of that. So
that's
go ahead.
That's my point. Don't be pseudo-intellectual. Unless you can define it as something other than what you experience, as I know and can use in everyday life, unless you can define it as something else, don't try and mug me off and pretend it's F equals ma or anything. Any of this nonsense mathematically. Weight is what it is. It's what something weighs. Yeah, we can use a convention of scales to kind of quantify it in a way. Yeah, but as to try and describe it as the effect of some pseudo force, it's just nonsense. And that's where you end up when you try and place yourself in a place that can't exist because of the second law, and then describe the effects of something that doesn't exist and how the removal of that effect would affect you.
Yep. Any direction they go, Adam, because this has all this weight mass thing. Any direction they go, because they're pigeonholed, there's nothing that they can do. You got equivocation fallacy definitions for all the terms, and it's nothing but confusion. And that's okay, because if you go that route, ballers, you're finished. This is what we're doing. We're deconstructing everything you discuss because your pseudoscience priest has pigeonholed you with contradictions, and you can't get out of them. Right? Here's another one. This is really funny. So we all know that F equal ma is false, right? But we're pretending we're in their paradigm. So it's one of Newton's laws, and like I said, we all know all Newton's laws are bunk. But anyway, F equals ma. But some of them define m as the resistance to acceleration. So F equal ma now becomes force equals the resistance to acceleration times acceleration. Do you see the silliness in that? That's what it comes...
So what is inertia? What and mass?
Wait, now think about it.
Yep.
F equal ma, right? Newton's law. And if you define m in that equation as the resistance to acceleration, then F equal ma is force equals the resistance to acceleration times acceleration.
So it's moving and not moving at the same time. Wow.
That's what happens when you have contradictory definitions.
That shows you the maths is wrong, doesn't it, for reality? Yeah, if the two things are very different in reality, yet their mathematical description is the same, then from logic, it tells you that the mathematical description is either wrong for one of them or both.
Yep.
Yeah. But what it can't be is correct for both.
Yeah, you got it. Yep. That Flatzoid liked that one. I can see a show on that coming up.
Yeah, that was actually that's why I asked the 3 questions that Katz is even avoiding to answer.
Listen, I nicked that off somebody. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm usually really good with that, but I didn't catch that one So somebody in my comments section underneath the video put forth that idea. I gave him kudos there. I said, good job, looking at something, paying attention to detail. So whoever that was, I should have got your name. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't do it. But you know who you are. Thumbs up to you. That's exactly what you do. Way to pay attention to detail. All right, we ready to roll into another fiasco, right?
Before you do, let me shout out a super chat.
Oh, we finally hear from a QE cutie.
Yeah, I'm here for the admin, of course.
Thanks for
We got one
gracing.
from- What?
Thanks for gracing us with your presence. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, for talking me, right? So we got one from Unitox Pemu, Sasha, and he says, if I mix Newton and Einstein in double-blind experiment, then conservation of momentum is achieved.
That's way over my head.
I think so, yeah.
Thanks,
Even
Sasha.
over mine.
Oh my goodness gracious, I got blown out again.
That's Sasha.
All right, who was that?
That was
I don't know even what I wrote.
Sasha. Okay, I got you, Sasha. Now you're okay. You blew my eardrums out.
I wanted to be more, how to say, nonsensical.
Yeah, it is nonsensical. I got you, Sasha. It is all nonsensical. Yeah, and once you tear apart, and it comes from, like Adam was saying, from their mathematics. But see, they misdefine their terms. Any mathematician will tell you, all variables in any formula or equation must be defined rigorously. It's self-evident. I don't need to say that. I shouldn't have to say it, but I'm going to say it just in case anyone's unsure about this. That's where the problem lies when you start defining them, because within the same conversation, people will change the definition on you. And just to let everyone know, that's fallacious. It's called bait and switch. It's an equivocation fallacy. Just to let everyone know. It's often done with gravity. They'll switch back and forth between Reverend John Michel, Cavendish, C.V. Boys, and Einstein. They'll switch back and forth, force, no force, right? That's the one that stands out. But be careful. Mass, inertia, weight. You're in prime time real estate for equivocation fallacies to run rampant. And if they speak real fast and throw the formulas at you, if you're not familiar with the topic, you're through. Okay? Good. All right. I think we're ready to go. We want to get done this century. Go ahead. Somebody else want to say something good.
Just to clarify then. So if I threw a weight and use Newtonian mechanics to figure everything out, its inertial weight, land, etc., the impact, etc., etc., that's great. But all of those mechanics are based on a non-rotating reference frame after I throw it, yeah?
It would have to be an inertial reference frame.
Just one.
Yeah.
So when Newton worked all this out, his presupposition of everything that was working out was that the Earth wasn't rotating underneath him. Through the weight.
I don't know. We'll never know. Dave,
I'm just saying the mathematics makes that assumption, John, not Newton.
Listen,
Yeah,
there's so much adulteration with Newton. Right now, I'm a little dizzy with all the convolutions. That's why I don't say Newtonian gravity. I make mistakes just like everyone, because that we've heard it over and over and over again, right? I try to step back and take that away from him because of what he said. It's so convoluted, Adam. I really don't know what to say. I don't know what they were thinking.
Necessarily.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying I want to ascribe that to him, John. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is within the purported mechanics, it doesn't account for it.
You're talking about Newton's.
Well-
You're talking about Newton's debunked laws.
What I'm saying is when I did A-level physics and I dropped it after a year, which is that year in the photo, funnily enough, because it was getting nonsensical. Yeah. When I was doing a calculation back then for throwing a weight and how far it goes as a distance, that was based on those basic mechanics. At no point in those mechanics was there a rotating reference. Yeah. Was I on a rotating reference frame?
Sure.
Yeah. And at no point was I releasing it into a different reference frame, the object. Yeah.
Right.
So no point in those mechanics when I was calculating as a kid was that in there. Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't in there because it wouldn't be calculable, simply, and it therefore would mean Newton was wrong.
It would be non sequitur because it Yep. You got it, Adam.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, even I mean, if you have to look at any physics that's taken in today with anything that's even got to do with planes and whatever, they have to work also on a non-rotating platform. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yep.
They need the maths to be on a non-rotating platform.
Exactly. You got it.
But if I, as a high school kid, took that same mathematics and threw it towards an American football goal, then I would have to consider that mathematics, wouldn't I?
Not if you're not rotating.
Well, suddenly we are, and we're told that these mathematics are worthy of consideration when taking a field goal, but not when I'm at high school figuring out how a weight flies through the air and how that distance relates to the force I've applied and its mass, right? So to calculate how far it'd go, that's what I have to take into consideration. At no point am I deciding which way I'm orientated to consider secondary reference frames and the effects of when I release that weight into it and I'm on a rotating one. Yeah. Well, that is important to Newtonian mechanics because everything we calculate relates to that. I.e., when I drop a weight and I time out it's 9.8, the Earth should have moved underneath. Shouldn't be catching it directly underneath, should I? But none of that's calculated or explained. It's only then put in later. But it's not Newtonian. That's the point I wanted to raise, which is that none of that you raised, none of this is in there. Yet they want it later on when they need it. But they can't because the mechanics they are espousing denies it. All the numbers they're going to use. Yeah. I'll finish rambling, John, but
No, keep going, man. I'm halfway through the banana. Keep going.
I knew you. I could tell you, man. But I'll reiterate the point then. Yeah, they're trying to deny something and then use it. Yeah, but all the proof we had is all the mechanics we did, all the stuff you can do and test. But then they're trying to claim there's an extra force later on that isn't detectable in all this stuff. But would be on a field goal.
That's why they are pushing, like Neil deGrasse with Coriolis, where he's trying to show it as physical when it's not actually physical. All because of this cluster screw. Because they have to make it work for them, even though he knows it's not possible using their maths.
If the Earth had rotated the field goal to be scored, yeah, then the Earth would rotate under planes, yeah, blimps, yeah, and flights would be shorter in one direction to the other. As simple as that. It's either there or it isn't. Whether that effect is 1.5 inches during the flight of the ball is irrelevant. They're either claiming it or they're not. You can't have picky choosy, can you? You can't have it one way or the other.
I mean, I used to do long jump, and I can swear I would jump to where I'm intended to jump to. The floor did not move away from me while I was jumping to my intended spot. Definitely not.
Well, that's a good point, isn't it? If what Neil claims is true, then it would be imperative that all Olympic long jump runs face the same direction. with regards to rotation of a ball, wouldn't it? Because otherwise they'd be, you were going one way or the other, surely. As Neil claims, if the ball can be subject to it, then you, once you've launched yourself, would be subject to it too. So it would be unfair if at one Olympic Games you were running in favour with the rotation and the other Olympic Games against. That's surely would have been figured out by now and would be boldly stated. We've aligned the long jump to make sure it's fair with regards to rotation.
Good point.
Another scenario that I discussed yesterday, I was in one of the VCs on Discord, and this goes back to the planes flying backwards deal. Flat Earthers, you want to kill this thing quick and have some fun with it? Let me give you a scenario. I think you guys heard this before on an empty clip. So here's the scenario. You got a plane taking off in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to fly to Los Angeles. Straight flight. Now, Charlotte and Los Angeles are roughly the same latitude line. And it's going about 860 miles an hour. What we're going to do, we're going to round the number. We'll round it to 800. Make it easy. So the Earth is spinning from west to east at 800 miles an hour. Now, a plane on takeoff is about 170. It gets up to about 175 miles an hour. Wheels up, right? So we'll just round that to 200. So we got 800 miles an hour and 200 miles an hour. You got those two figures, right? So we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're going to head down the runway. The runway is facing directly west. So there's no other problems. It's facing directly towards Los Angeles. So with the Earth spinning from west to east, that plane starts chugging down the runway. And it gets up to 200 miles an hour. And at 200 miles an hour, it has wheels up. Now we're going to stop. We're going to stop frame right there. So the Earth is spinning from west to east at 800 miles an hour. On wheels up, the plane is going 200 miles an hour. If somebody is in the inertial reference frame, like in a helicopter hovering, eyes on that airport, watching this plane take off, then according to the ball-tard spinning space monkey religion, that plane has to be flying backwards at 600 miles an hour. Are you tracking with me? There is no way around that scenario must be true in their paradigm. There's no other way around it. And that's the conservation of linear momentum, by the way. So that's how stupid it is, folks. You can kill it just like that. Bring it up at parties. People will love it. But I just killed the whole heliocentric religion, imploded right then, right when I finished that statement.
It's a tough one to swallow. The way I got that one is one way, you've got all the aerodynamics we understand in terms of plane lift. The other way, you've not got that understanding of aerodynamics. You've actually got a plane that's being blown backwards at 600 mile an hour, but luckily it's been blown in such a lucky way that it feels like it's going forward.
And it looks like it's going forwards in both reference frames.
And they can control it like they're going forwards, but actually,
yeah,
they can speed up a bit and only be going 550 miles an hour backwards.
You know, the spot that I want to see is the transition. When it overcomes that linear momentum, the conservation of linear momentum, when it overcomes that, right in between that and going forward, that suspended animation part, I want to see that.
No, that's like that transition you always get with space flights between things going up and then suddenly being in space. You'll never see the transition because it's magic.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hope you enjoyed that, right? Because that's what it boils down to. And if you remember, I took Danny T, truther, right where he wanted to go. Yep. That must be true if we're living on a spinning ball-tard. That's it. It's over right there.
I've seen these videos of people that are driving in a car next to an airport and something, and then they see a plane, and then they think that that plane is standing still in midair.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that actually. Somebody in a plane, and then they fly past the plane, and it looks like it's standing still.
Yeah. And that's amazing, right? But that's of course the same thing when you're in a train station and there is a train next to you, and you're in the one that's standing next to that one, and then you think that you're moving, but that other train is moving, right? And then you see that you're still there, and that other train is, and that's the same with that plane. When people see that when they're driving in their car. That plane seems to be standing still, but it's because of their perspective, right? You just drive by in a certain amount of speed, and that plane is looks like it's standing still in midair, but isn't.
Is that my suspended animation stage?
I think so.
All right. At least we pinpointed it.
Maybe I can find some videos for you.
Okay.
That you can see. Yeah, it's quite amazing. Yep.
All right, we ready to roll? We've been talking for an hour, over an hour about before the presentation. It's gonna be a long day. Maybe I'll just highlight certain points. How about that?
I think that's the best, huh?
Yeah, I think that's the best. Adam, if I just stop at 5A for Adam, he'll be good. He'll say thank you, have a nice day.
I need to shout out this super chat, by the way.
Okay, good.
It's from James Mays, and he says, "Hello, Betty, QE. I'm enjoying the show. Shout out to Try Thinking and Flat Earth. Great content. Sorry about the interruption, sir. Proceed."
Thanks, James.
Good super chat.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, James. Go ahead. I rumpushed you. Hold on, Adam. I rumpushed you, Betty. You said I didn't catch a couple things that you said. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a rad super chat, so that's a good one.
It's a rad.
Thank you, Jay.
It's a rad super chat, is what you said.
Red.
Oh, red. Oh, thank you, James. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much, Adam.
No, just other than 5A. I love it. I really do love it. There's things that I'd put bows on top, and that's one of them for me. Yeah.
If I just do 5A, hey James, if I just do 5A for Adam, he's good for the rest of the week, man. I didn't have to say anything to him.
And next week.
I could tell when we went through the presentation the first time. I could just tell in his voice. He said, "You just wait a cotton picking minute." I loved it. I like Adam for that.
I was going to say something blasphemous, but it's like the Pope saying something blasphemous. Yeah, it's like the complete antithesis. Everything you have suggested. Here's your high priest saying, no, that doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, he gives the whole story,
the way,
and then
let me tell you about this other parable where I disprove the way we described the thing that's impossible, and point out that the way we described it was wrong. Not that what was happening was impossible.
Well, he tells you the whole story, right? And it's exciting, and everybody's on it, and it's great. And then right towards the end, he says, "Well, it's all not true."
What's not true though? What's the bit that's not true? That's what I'm saying. The bit that's not true is array.
Betty, I hear typing.
Oh, sorry about that. I was on the mute.
You cutie, you. Make sure you mute.
Can't believe she rumpuses me all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Shut up. Get stuffed.
Get stuffed.
Got one back.
Yeah, I hear click, 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 click in the background. Is Zanuck in here? All right, yeah. So we'll just highlight some things in here. I wanted to go back through it, and I'm going to do it a bunch more times. I didn't do it last week because it seemed that everyone got it. But on my travelings since I did the last presentation, I've heard the lack of holding ballers to task with it, because they've brought it up and they've been walking on eggshells, doing it cautiously, saying refraction. And there's a lot of people out there, I give a lot of people thumbs up, you know who you are, that have stopped them. But a lot of people, I think maybe they're just not feeling comfortable with it just yet. And that's why I'm going to keep on doing it. I may not go over every single thing, but we'll do something like this. We'll see how this goes, and maybe just brush it and then take any questions if anyone has. If you got a question about it, don't hesitate. You can either, put your question in chat, make sure we see it, put some type of super chat on there. It can be minimal, right? Or jump into VC. All right, because if you have a question, I'll bet you there's a lot of people that have the same question that I'm just not seeing. Okay? So like I said, here we go with refraction. Again, I'm not going to say again and again and again every time. You know it's again because I'm doing it again. So with any topic, you must define terms. It's the Socratic method. Now, I'm not talking about is and and. I'm not talking about that. But if you're bringing up topics for discussion, and this is one, refraction, you best define it and right from Jump Street. Don't wait. What is it? And provide citation for it. There's nothing wrong with asking people to provide citation for it. I don't want to know what you think this is. I want to know what it is, if you guys are following me. So, since we're talking about refraction, let's define this monkey. Well, we go to the physics classroom. Refraction is the bending of a path of a light wave as it passes from one material to another material. Sounds pretty important right there. I highlighted it in red for you because that's really important as part of the definition. The refraction occurs at the boundary. That's very, you know what? I should highlight this whole thing, but it would make it, I can't do that because everything's highlighted, right? But every part of this definition is important. This part is really important. The refraction occurs at the boundary. Well, you have to have two different things for a boundary. There's no boundary in one thing. And is caused by a change in the speed of a light wave upon crossing said boundary. Makes sense. So to have refraction, you need two different things, and you must have a boundary. You have to have a surface, an interface. The tendency of a ray of light to bend one direction or another is dependent upon whether the light wave speeds up or slows down upon crossing the boundary. It's pretty, and it's diagrammed or related in the formula. N material equals the speed of light in a vacuum over your reference material. Now, what is that N? Remember I said you had to define all your variables? N is the index of refraction. That's where they get the number from. So it's the speed of light over the speed of light in your reference material. It's a ratio is all I'm trying to say. It's got to be this because that's what refraction is. They just defined it for you, right? You can't make something up. And we got the refractive index here. This is the first introduction to Snell's law. It's over to the right. That's okay. I'm just going to show you how equivalent it is. You actually don't need Snell's law because you're going to get the same index of refraction with the known speeds of light going through each reference material. They're just different ratios, right? The first ratio, or N to 1, is the index of refraction in reference to material 2 versus material 1. That's all it is. And it comes from epsilon 1 over epsilon 2 right here. Or you can just use V. It doesn't matter. We can use V as velocity. It's not a big deal. So V1 over V2. Well, where's that formula? Well, it's right up here. I just showed it to you. That is also equal to the right side of this equation, which is Snell's law, which again is another ratio. It's just a trigonometric ratio. It's sine of the incident ray over the sine of the refracted ray equals a constant. That constant is the index of refraction. Hopefully everyone's getting this. I went over this a few times up to this point. That's not that difficult. Go ahead. I hear somebody click off.
Yeah, only to point out that you're not decrying this.
No.
You're supporting it. Obviously, we point out that we can't measure the speed of light. But what you're saying here is this is a ratio of the two-way speed of light. Therefore, we're not making a referral to the speed of light per se, as that means something. We're just saying, look, the two-way speeds have a ratio, and as you'll go on to validate, those ratios match the signs.
Yes.
So, I say, that's all I want to say. You're not, just to reiterate the point, that you're not decrying the speed.
No, I'm not. Not at all.
The speed of light is irrelevant to this at this point in terms of the determination of a refractive index.
Yes. As long as they're using the convention two-way speed, I have no problem with it. The most important thing is, I'm not debunking this. This is what refraction is. I'm just trying to point it out to you. What I'm trying to show you is that the people who are begging refraction have no idea what it means or what it is. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just showing you what it actually is. From the experts in the field, not the numpties begging refraction. Because that, we have to get down to defining terms. Once we start using the Socratic method, the ball-tard numpties are through. It's over. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just making stuff up, as usual. So, the 5-dagger fistful of dipshittery. Like I said, I'm going to stop here. My favorite is obviously 1A versus Adam's 5A. But mine's quite deadly, and it just stops the discussion in its tracks. There's no way around this, so we'll get into it. Number one, whenever ball-tards refraction, they're unwittingly invoking terrestrial refraction. There is no question about this. That's what it's defined as. I mean, if you read anything from Andrew Thomas Young, he discusses this in depth. So there's no question here. And we have Andrew Thomas Young right here from San Diego State Astronomy Department. He's going to give you the description of terrestrial refraction. The atmosphere is also curved as it follows the shape of the Earth, and the calculations below will adopt the rough value of 6,400 kilometers as the radius of curvature to make the calculation simple. Now, you see, I've highlighted these two, right? To have this, these two conditions have to be known. This one and this one. Simple as that. Or it's not this, right? If I have a definition of a banana and it has, a banana is this color and this color, grows on trees. It's chock full of simple carbohydrates, potassium, and B6. If B6 is missing, let's say this is B6. If B6 is missing from the banana, then guess what? It's not a banana. Follow? Hopefully you guys got that. So, for terrestrial refraction to exist, like I said, two conditions that is necessary antecedents must exist. You must have curved gases, the atmosphere. And as we all know, atmo means air, air is a gas, sphere is a shape. Gases have no inherent shape. Right? If you think they do, you would fail first grade intro to gas behavior. Literally. From Christy Bodak, Southwestern University. Grade level. I will use this lesson with a first grade class. If an object is in a gaseous state of matter, it will not have a definite shape or a definite volume. So it's over right there. You can't have curved gases. So one of the necessary contingent facts up here is non-existent. It's a fairy tale, making this a fairy tale. Not refraction. Terrestrial refraction's a fairy tale. Hopefully everyone's got that. All right. So like I said, this is 1A, and I could follow it up with Chem Libre text. Anywhere you look, they're going to tell you that gases have no definite shape, even though you know it intuitively. If you ever been around gases, like the air. They have no definite shape. It's all over right here, folks. Exhibit 1A, they're finished. Right, you can stop it there. Now, you don't have to. If you want to have a little fun, you can keep on going. I'm just giving you the ammunition, you know, to put in your depot or arrows in your quiver. Okay? So, like I said, here we go with the definition again. It has 6,400 kilometers as the radius of curvature. Well, you need the radius of the Earth. Well, demonstrate the radius of the Earth. How'd you get that value? They have a begging the question fallacy radius wrapped in a contradiction in terms, paradox. The atmosphere is a paradox, folks. It's a contradiction in terms. Simple as that. Now, to the big guy, Snell's law. They must invoke Snell's law. Why? Well, because it's the law of refraction. What is it? It's not going to be too much different than that refraction that we defined above. It can't be because we're talking about refraction, right? You're not going to get too far away from the original, overall definition of refraction. So Snell's law, also known as Snell-Descartes law and the law of refraction, is a formula used to describe the relationship between the angles of incidence and refraction when referring to light or other waves passing through a boundary. Remember, we've seen that term before. Remember, I stressed that above. So it's the same thing. We have a boundary here between two different isotropic media. The other definition said between one material and another material. This is very easy. Two different isotropic media, such as water, glass, or air, right? Every depiction that you will see with Snell's law will have a reasonable facsimile to the one that you're looking at right here. You'll never see Snell's law without it designated as two different isotropic media. Why? Well, because it's in the definition, right? You're never going to find it with just one media. Why? Because that's not Snell's law, right? It's in the formula. You can't get around. You have the index of the incident ray with Ni and the incidence of the refracted ray. You ain't going to get around this. You got two angles here. You need two different media. It's as simple as that. In here, it has the air and water. Hope everyone gets this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, I like to circle back and just remind everyone that you can get there another way from the original definition of refraction. Like I said, it's just a ratio. Just like Snell's law is a ratio itself. It's just a trigonometric ratio, right? But the same thing. N, index of refraction, right there. C is the speed of light in the vacuum, and V is the speed of light in the reference medium. So there it is right there. It's depicted right here. And is equal to Snell's law. So I just want to say those are interchangeable. You can use either or. You're going to get the same answer. And here's an equation. I'm not so much concerned with the equation. What they're doing here is they're giving you the indices of refraction, right? And they're asking you to just solve for the refractive angle. I'm not all that concerned about that. It's Mach's next. What I wanted to show you here, right? You got the sun, and it's going, you have light traveling through air. You have a surface and water. You see the two different media and the boundary, the surface. Huh? They put that there for a reason, right? Because you have to have it. It's part of the definition. Can you give me a surface for gases? Gases have no surfaces, folks. Unbelievable. So, the married bachelor paradox atmosphere is only one medium. They're finished. Can't invoke Snell's law. You got to come up with something else. I don't know what you're going to come up with. You'll have to sidestep the law of refraction, right? And that's what they do. Andrew Thomas, I don't know if it was Andrew Thomas Young who first did it, but somebody conjured this, right? Their only recourse is to tie Snell's law to a tree and start to just feebly adulterate it, with their Tootsie Roll decks. Right? And then they get laughed at. They have to snatch a baseball bat and proceed to Bob Euchre flail blindly at the demobilized damsel and invoke the married bachelor paradox, curved gases atmosphere. They have to do that. That's how they do it. That's how they get rid of two mediums. They invoke a paradox. You think I'm kidding. From the subject matter expert, Andrew Thomas Young, San Diego State University, Snell's law, right? Snell's law gives the quantitative change of the direction of a ray of light in passing from one medium to another. We just read it above. He's not going to give you anything different. He can't, because that's the definition. He continues, the product n sine z is the same on both sides of a plane interface. See that? Interface between two media. Right, because you can't have an interface between one media. It's non sequitur. Where n is the local refractive index and z is the local angle the ray makes with the normal to the interface. Like everything right here, this whole thing is correct. It is Snell's law. He has to tell you that. But what's he going to do now? He has to get around this. He has to get around those two different media. And the way he does it, it's non sequitur in itself, even without the paradox. So it's a paradox wrapped within a non sequitur. And he does it right in front of your face. In the curved atmosphere, well, gases don't curve, Andrew. You would fail first grade intro to gas behavior. But he introduces the paradox, and presto magico, Snell's law becomes, drum roll please, nr sine z equals constant. That's not Snell's law. Where'd you get the r from? That's not in Snell's law. Let's go up here. Where's r? I don't see an r up here. Do you? No, because it's not there. It's not a part of it. Right? But that's how he does it. nr sine z equals constant, where r is the distance from the local center of curvature. See the page especially devoted to this refractive invariant. Yeah, it's an invariant, all right. It's a zombie. It's a paradoxical zombie. That's what he does, folks. There you go. Abracadabra. Same thing as Tinkerbell. He abracadabras you with pixie dust from the curved Atmo in Gondor. That's it. That's the trick. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Go ahead. Somebody wanted to add something there?
I did, John, because there was bits that I wrote notes on, and they are the tricks. First is to make that statement with regards to boundary layers and the application of Snell's law. Then is to, after that, is to convert it and then derive a formula. And derive a formula which is fundamentally no longer based in reality. It's no longer based in what we'll discuss, which is this non-boundary layer that doesn't exist. But even if we pretend it was this boundary layer that doesn't exist, that it did exist, and we pretend it, and this boundary layer is not actually based on atmospherics, it's based on R. Yeah? The one that's non-provable.
Yep.
And that is the filthy bastardization of good observations and science within all the point of getting to here. And as you say, the sideshow Bob Act, as they flim-flam those two things and get you to that point that you're prepared to accept that equation.
Yep.
Right? And the second you are, you're done. The
Yep.
second you accept that, you're done.
Yep, because I'm going to compromise you.
Good. Good.
Good. It's, yeah, like I said, yeah, thanks, Adam. Yep. So it's just an abracadabra with a paradox. It's so funny. It's not funny. It's pathetic, is what it is. I don't know how anyone can be fooled with this. How can you? You must not have read through these things, baltards. That's painfully obvious.
Here's another thing. Am I coming through okay, QE?
Yeah, you're starting to robot a little bit, but go ahead.
Something else I was thinking. I've been thinking about when I used to play with the ray tracer and the refractionometer, whatever you want to call it, on that you can play online with.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one setting that you can look at. It would show where, if you're looking at how the ray tracing is going, if you're the observer, where you would see the light, and like where it would be visible, where it would look like you would see it. And a lot of times when the angle comes in, you might, even though the light may be off to the right, but you would see it as if it was higher, right, than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
If the ray tracing, as they would argue, or if it's the light is following the curve of the Earth, then things would always look higher because it's having to curve over. So when you're looking at it, it would be more like an angled up in your observation. So it would always look higher than it really would be. You understand what I'm driving at? Does that make any sense? I was trying to find a picture where I can illustrate it, but and I can't download it on my phone. But if anybody knows what I'm talking about, maybe help me unpack it.
Nah, I don't want to unpack that. We're going to unpack it with the rays down below.
Because the rays will help, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep. The rays down below will kill that. And you're already assuming a sphere and curved gases, so it's fun to go down there, but I don't want to play. So, like I said, they introduced the paradox. It's a bastardization. It's pathetic. It's done by religious zealot retards. Another tiny little problem. Like I said, I'm picking at it now, but I think justifiably so. If you're going to put a definition of something, especially in science, this is supposed to be science, right? It has to be highly specific and accurate, right? In this definition, I think this is a great definition. All they would have to do is put the caveat in. I'm going to show you what the caveat is here, and it would be good to go. I'm just nitpicking a bit. And I think I'm justified in doing so. So let's take a look at this. We're going to compare the definition, all the antecedents, necessary antecedents, to a refractive scenario and see what we get. Again, refraction is the bending of the path of a light wave as it passes from one material to another. Okay? We have one material, air, and we have another material, water. That's satisfied. The refraction occurs at the boundary. Do we have a boundary in between the two? Yeah, the surface of the water. So that's good to go. Caused by a change in the speed of a light wave upon crossing the boundary. We have all of it so far is good to go because the light's coming through here. It's going to cross from one medium to another. It's got a boundary, a surface, an interface, and it's going to change speed. The tendency of a ray of light to bend one direction or another is dependent on the light wave speeds up or slows down upon crossing the boundary. All the conditions are satisfied in our depiction right here, but guess what? There's no refraction here. What did they forget? The incident ray has to be greater than 0. It's just right there for you. Refraction is 0. I put everything in here for you. There's no way out of this. Like you could say I'm being pedantic. I don't think I am. It has to be accurate. It has to be precise. It lacks both. All right? It's a small issue, but an important one. Here's another. I put this. This is a big one for me. I usually don't go here because it's way over with 1A, and I usually don't get down this far. This is just for background information, but it's important.
It's not a small issue, John. That's genius what you just said there. Yeah? Because even if I take a crystal to my eye and look through it and look at the world through it, the world's there. It's a bit blurry, a bit different, yeah? But it's there in the same way. And if there isn't an angle of incidence, and that's what we're talking about here, and the refraction doesn't occur, and that's another factor that's crucial. Because how does air and gases have an orientation? Yeah?
Yeah.
There isn't an orientation. So you can't use gases, surely, unless I'm being wrong here. It's fine when you're passing it through another medium, a crystal, a solid, a liquid. Yeah, fine, because they do have orientations. They've got a lattice to work with.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, gases don't.
Nope. Again, they don't have a surface. It's as simple as that. To have an interface, you must have a surface. Gases don't have surfaces.
The word keeps coming up. There is no boundary when you encounter the gas.
Yep. That word keeps on popping up. I tried to stress it earlier, right? But you're going to see it everywhere. Boundaries, and interfaces. Yep. Like I said, some people might think that it's pedant. That's okay. I think I made my point. The next one, again, I usually don't get this far. It's important, however, because it's in the definition. To establish the efficacy of Snell's law, please show photons as friggin' waves. Why do I say that? Well, waves are all throughout the definition. From Wiki, you got waves. From the physics classroom, there's light waves. There's 3 of them. Light wave in a single definition. Light wave here, light wave here. We got waves everywhere. You got a big problem, Shaggy. Because if we talk to Richard Feynman and Professor Shankar, physics at Yale, light, photons aren't waves. So there's contradictions upon paradoxes upon contradictions. See it right here. He tells you. Feynman, the first thing Newton believed light was corpuscular. Turned out that it had very strange properties from that point of view. And it was then explained that many of these strange properties were because, in fact, it was a wave, which was wrong. He just comes right out and tell you you're wrong. Turns out he was right. It was a particle. Nothing you could do about this. There's no linguistic gymnastics that you can do to convert this. He sounds pretty confident, too. So does Professor Shankar. Everything is really particles, all things, electrons, photons, protons, we don't care about the other ones, just the photons. All are particles. So let there be no doubt about that. Pretty confident. You don't hear that confidence too many times, not like this. I mean, this is right in front of your face. Well, he's confident because he knows it for a fact. That's why. So they have a problem. There's another problem. All right? So show photons as friggin' waves. Best wishes. It's not going to happen. Now, Adam brought up another point, and I bring up this point. Like I said, I always caveat it because if they're working within the convention, the two-way speed convention, I have no problem with it. I just wanted to make a point of order, Your Honor, about the speed of light. They do not know the one-way speed of light. It's forever illusory, never, ever to be discovered. Won't happen, right? But, like I said, if they're using the two-way speed in convention, I give them a pass with it. So I can just pass this one by. If you want a more thorough explanation, go back to the original presentation and I go through it. Okay? One-way speed of light, they must know it. This has other ramifications for their other fairy tales, light years, measuring distances and stuff. It's a train wreck. If you've listened to the Numpty clips, you know why. So even if I play, I be kind of dumb animal, ball-tard booger eater week, and grant them all of the paradoxes and contradictions we just went over. If I just say, okay, to heck with it, I'm going to give you all of it. The curved gases, the Snell's law, Tootsie Roll decadulteration, waves, catastrophe, one-way speed of light, Bubby Baroni's fairy tale radius. I could give it all to you and say, okay, I'll grant that to you. There is no way your paradoxical refractive phenomena that takes the geometric horizon and jettisons it 10 times further than it should be. Not even in all your paradoxes and all your contradictions can you pick up and move, jettison the horizon 10 times further than it should be. You can't do anything about this. It's over. Somebody told me and stopped me right here and said, you know what? This is killer. On this one right here, even granting them everything. That's how bad it is. We can move on. This is a good one right here, man. Oh, and now on the rays. 5A. Now we're into Adam's realm. He's going to quickly take over here, folks. I'm telling you.
All I want to do is when it's on screen in YouTube is read the quote. Because I've been quoting it for a week or so. A week now, haven't I? And it was something I quickly scribbled down. So I say I'm lazy. I'm not bothered to go back and see it. But when it's time to read it, can I read that, John?
Yeah. You know what? It's time. No, it's not time. You're right. I have a couple other things to go through. When I get there, Adam, I will stop and let you do it. How about that?
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
I figured that, man. I knew you were hyped up for it. Fair enough. So I want to bring up rays. Now, why do I bring up rays? Well, there's a good reason for it. I'll bet you can't guess what my reason is for bringing up rays. That's rhetorical, by the way. You don't have to answer. Well, because it's in the definitions. From Hyperphysics, Georgia State University.edu. Refraction is the bending of a wave when it enters a medium where its speed is different. The refraction of light when it passes from a fast to a slow medium bends the light ray towards normal, towards the boundary. See the boundaries again? We have the boundaries between, here we go again, two media. They can't get around this. The amount of bending depends on the indices of refraction of the two media. Two. And is described quantitatively by Snell's law. But we're focusing on rays. Even the subject matter expert, right? Rays. He's got it all through his definitions. Rays, 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 everywhere. Where's Ray? Adam.
So, rays is one that bugs me. What you were talking about earlier with regards to the nature of light. How do you conceptualize rays interacting with crystal lattices, with gas, and how the difference occurs? This weird mixing of what we see is a ray. Okay, how we perceive it, how we perceive the way those photons are, we call it a ray. But to conceptualize the behavior of the light as a ray is, I think, something you have to step outside of like teenage sci-fi for and realize it is a 60s word that doesn't mean anything in the slightest, and to me is confusing. And I think that's the admission here, isn't it? However, and that I see you've called it up now, John. This is the bit that, for me, allows you to ignore the previous stuff and go and say to your baller, I'll give you curve gases, yeah. I'll give you gas pressure without containment, yeah. Curve. I'll give you your the rate at which it's going to curve, yeah. I'll give you Snell's law. I'll give you another. I'll give you the one thing I will accept. So I won't give you. One thing I want you to accept is what refraction is. What John stated at the beginning, with regards to all of this, and this is refraction, and we'll come back to that word. Refraction occurs at the boundary layer, and that is a point of principle of Snell's law, which is what's then stated later, yeah, and used for this. But what Mr. Andrew Thomas Young, is it San Diego State University, astronomy department, says some people have worried about how to apply the refraction law to such a horizontal ray of light because it does not cross any horizontal boundaries between denser and less dense air in a stratified atmosphere. In general, the curvature of the ray is different from the curvature of Earth's surface, but here we are only concerned with the rays bend just enough to follow the curve of the Earth. The simple solution to the horizontal ray paradox is to remind ourselves that rays are unrealistic mental constructs. In reality, we have always have a beam of light. Infinite rays don't really exist. And that last bit I think is lovely because it's total flim-flam to take you away from the point that he's saying what we're saying happens. It doesn't happen, but let me talk about something else. It's a bit like a politician, isn't it? At the point of something really crucial that they're going to go down for, it's better to go down for something less. I did not have relations with that woman. It's probably a better thing to go down for than the truth of what he did. Hence, let's ignore the beginning of the what I've just admitted and focus on me admitting that rays don't really exist, instead of what we've said the effect of rays are and the impact of that. with regards to, I said, all the things I'm previously happy to concede, not in reality, but just for the sake of this argument. And it's enough to destroy them. That's why, John, I got excited, because I think it's fantastic. It's their priest, their guy, it's their statement telling them that what they say happens. It doesn't happen. I'm rambling.
No, that's okay. What I was going to say is I can rest. I don't even have to present my case. I can just let Andrew Thomas Young present his, and it destroys the entire fairy tale of terrestrial refraction with this one sentence. The first sentence. We didn't even get to the ray part yet. This sentence right here. Some people have worried about that. That cracks me up. Worried about. Well, why are they worried, Andrew? How to apply the refraction law? Well, what is that? That's Snell's law to such a horizontal ray of light. But this is the important part, because it does not cross any boundaries. Get back here. Horizontal boundaries. Well,
Then
that's
there's no need to worry, is there?
yeah.
It's absolute. If it doesn't cross a boundary, then you don't have to worry about Snell's law, because it's not applicable.
Exactly. You got it. Yep. He kills it right there. I don't have to do anything. Does it itself. Now, back to the rays. Now, he goes on to say the simplest solution. This cracked me up. When I first read this, I said the simplest solution. Solution to what? This problem? How can this below that I'm going to read be a solution to this problem up here? It's not. I don't know why this statement is even in here. I sure wish somebody would explain it. Andrew, can you come on here and explain what this means? You didn't offer. Now, you said simplest solution. There is no solution. I'll read it. Please, somebody tell me what the solution is. The simplest solution to the horizontal ray paradox is to remind ourselves that rays are an unrealistic mental construct. In reality, we always have a beam of light. Infinitely narrow rays don't really exist. Anyone? What's the solution? It's lost on me. I don't see a solution here. What I see here is a statement that's relieving him the responsibility of his volumes of horseshit prior. That's what I see. Because that doesn't make, this is non sequitur. The simplest solution, this part right here, it's non sequitur. And then the horizontal ray paradox, unrealistic mental construct? Really? The rays don't really exist? They must exist. They're in your definitions there, Andrew. So what you're doing is you're conjuring, like you conjured the curved atmosphere. This time you're conjuring rays. It's a conjuring squared. You're like a witch. But at least actual witches, they have physical substances in their brew, like bat pee and frog's legs and Winchester shells, right? You don't have that. You have concepts. You're conceptual witch, right? Because you have to have rays. This is a physical effect in our reality you're attempting to describe, and you're telling everyone that they don't exist. It's over. It's all over. It was over with the first sentence. Like I said, we're just dancing on the graves. And then this final one, if you're unsure, if you think he made a mistake in this reference, we'll go to another reference. From Andrew Thomas Young. Astronomy Department. Thanks, Adam. In the diagrams below, heavy lines represent rays of light. If you're not familiar with this conceptual fiction, what? You have conceptual fictions as descriptions in your definitions of physical effects in reality. It's preposterous. It's a reification fallacy at the very best. Please check the Optics for Beginners page before continuing here. We don't have to. Ballers, what you have to do is check his Optics for Beginners page before you continue. Well, you didn't even start, so you can't continue. You have to start first. So once you start, make sure you check out this reference right here. Optics for Beginners, right? Unbelievable. Now, Let's now take the terrestrial paradoxical Narnia refraction to its logical ends, right? We've got all the pedigree information. Now we want to see if it follows. You know it doesn't because it's a train wreck of all the contradictions and paradoxes. You know where it's going to end. But let's go ahead and do it and show everyone. There's nothing hidden. We're going to practically show what happens when you extrapolate from a multi-layered, paradoxical, adulterated, fictional, foundational fairy tale. And their poster child, I'm going to use it. Terrestrial refraction is looming. Everyone knows it, right? In this genre, everyone comes out. Bagac's looming. They don't know what it is. They've never known. I've asked people for almost 5 years now what looming is. I have never received this definition. Not a single time. And that's from Andrew Thomas Young. It's pretty concise. You'd figure it would just roll off their tongues. Right? But you'll never get the definition because they have this conjuring in their mind what it actually is. Right? Even going against what their pseudoscientists tell them. Like I said, we have right-wing factions of morons, right, that just make stuff up. But let's use the actual definition that he provides, right? Looming, the appearance above the horizon. This is Andrew Thomas Young, by the way. The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it, right? That's his definition. As you can see in the definition right here, it's talking about the objects in reference to the horizon. Not the horizon. Not in his definition. Right? So now we have his Huckleberry quantum eraser that says that that's a load of crap right here. His definition. It's not lining up. Why not? His definition's not lining up. My definition of looming is nothing more than an optical illusion produced by the sky being inferior miraged underneath an object, giving the appearance of said objects floating above a false horizon. So, I'm saying that my definition is complete and is demonstrable. Judge, I will now demonstrate how my definition is correct and Andrew Thomas Young is smoking shrooms. Exhibit A. This is the quintessential example of looming in their paradigm. As I said, if you use off-center vision, you can see where the horizon, I can almost see it now. Just not because I've looked at this photo so many times, it just plainly I can see it. I can understand in YouTube land that it's probably not good enough detail for you guys to see it. I can appreciate that. But I'm telling you, if you ever look at this photo, like in a magazine or on some other media, you'll be able to see it. But yeah, I can see the actual horizon off the bow here, right? So my definition is, remember, that the sky above is being inferior mirage underneath this object, giving the appearance that the object is floating above a false horizon. And that's exactly what's happening here. If we're unsure about this, then we have Mick. Here he comes to save the day. There's a fever in the funkhouse now, West. To make sure everyone is on the same page. There he is. Old Mick. October 2017. Now, to give credit where credit is due. Mick brought this out, and it's the same photo from above. We already went over that. He brought this out because the tabloid, he said in the caption below down here, the tabloid media called this a mirage, right? So Mick was right in calling them out and saying, hey, listen, guys, this isn't a mirage. All right? Obviously, it's not, because that's not the definition of mirage right here. So he depicts it, not a mirage. The real horizon is near here, right? The one that I told you was there. You can see it plainly now. All Mick did was color contrast this. He said the false horizon was due to fog. Now, it's a false horizon. His claim due to fog, his cause is, that's a false cause fallacy. Why? Because if that was fog, you wouldn't see the boat. But that's why we love you, Mick. Your meticulous attention to excruciating detail. But, like I said, credit where credit's due. He called it out. This is not a mirage. Thanks for proving my point, because the sky's being inferior miraged underneath an object, giving the impression of the object floating above a false horizon. That's Exhibit B, Your Honor. Exhibit C, 2014 Scottish Open. Just look at the left photo. It's readily apparent that the real horizon is right here. Right across there. Everyone can see it. What's happening here? Well, the sky's being inferior mirage underneath this boat, giving the impression that the boat is floating above a false horizon, which is down here. Now, they color contrasted it and makes it very easy to see. That's Exhibit C, Your Honor. This is a landslide. The jury's laughing now. And I haven't even brought out the big whopper just yet. There she is. This is QE Cutie's favorite photo. Can I hear a shout out from QE Cuties?
Yay!
This is Betty's favorite photo when we first
You
looked at.
calling me?
No. When we when we first seen this, but the first words out of her mouth was, "The boats are being raptured." I'll never forget it. Right? Because it looks like that. But this is the quintessential example, Your Honor. This is the quintessential example, demonstration of my definition. So we have the sky being inferior mirage underneath these objects, right? You can even see some of the white clouds in here. There's a collage of the clouds in the water. You have the real horizon, the actual horizon right across here. I can see it plainly. These objects are floating above a false horizon. Folks, you can't get any more delineated for a false horizon than this one because it's fragmented across the entire transverse dimension of the horizon, of the false one, right? This is over. It's over. My definition is correct. And Andrew Thomas Young's looming, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it, he can't make that claim. That's not what this is. Right? But more importantly, he would need a second photo of these objects below the horizon. Even to make his definition coherent. It's a comparison. The appearance above the horizon of a distant object, this is the important part, that would normally be hidden below it. So show us the normally part. That's how stupid this is. Right? This is over, folks. Terrestrial refraction does not exist. They can't appeal to it. I just showed you why they can't do it. Now, I didn't say refraction doesn't exist, did I? I did not say that. I am saying that terrestrial refraction, what they appeal to for their ball-tard spinning space monkey religion, they can't appeal to it anymore. It's just that simple. I hope everyone gets it. I'm going to go over it about 10,000 more times. You guys are going to start puking, including ball-tards, right? Everyone is going to know this. Everyone in the genre, anyway. Comments, questions?
Yeah. Is that Andrew Thomas Young a real guy?
Yes.
How do we know?
I think Rumpus and another guy, I don't know his name, had correspondence with him. And if I'm not mistaken, I think 10th Man also had correspondence with him.
Okay. Because we can't find any pictures of him, huh?
No.
He's sort of like a hidden guy.
Yes.
Behind the scenes kind of guy. Don't mind the guy behind the curtains kind of guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Is he right about anything?
I don't know. I'd have to go through all his material and find something he's right about.
Is he an astrophysicist? What is he?
He works for, I don't know his degree. I'd have to search that. All I know is that he works for the astronomy department at San Diego State University.
Okay, so who is he to make definitions of terrestrial?
He has. He's the subject. He is the.
No, he doesn't have a face. How much of an importance is this then?
Well, like I said, he is the subject matter expert on the topic.
How? Why?
Like that.
It's just a guy with a name.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
The most extensive literature is by Andrew Thomas Young. And he is even cited erroneously by folks like Mick West.
Yeah. Isn't that strange, huh?
Yep.
These people seem to find one another.
Yep.
But if you would want to make a paper about this, then they say, hey, what's your degree? Which university are you sort of from, and whatever. And we can't do that, right? When we have a statement to make.
Yes.
Yeah, these guys, they work for these universities, and I think, well, who's funding them, and what sort of outcome do they want from these universities?
That would be very different. See,
conspiratorial for you.
yeah. You want to go deep into like their personal lives and what toothpaste they're using. I'm just on the outside taking.
Yeah, the thing is, I like truth, and I like and I think that usually the truth doesn't come from sort of democratic sort of institutions. Let me say it that way.
I understand what you.
Where the most people are shouting that it is so when there is one speaking the truth.
I understand what you're saying. We just have two different missions on the truth side. I like to take the established words that they say. You want to get into what shampoo they're using.
No. That's making it dirty, right? No. I want to know what is their foundations, basically, right? What makes their foundations any better than ours? Why are they sort of established? What's that word established mean, right? That's sort of what I sort of get at.
It's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, we sort of revere that science and that the scientists and these people that with degrees and stuff. But come on, I mean, I think if you have a scientist talking about farmers things, right, and you have a farmer talking about things, who would you rather talk to? Right, I would rather talk to the guy that is the farmer, because I expect him to know more about how things work than the scientist.
The organ player at the church?
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever, right? I mean, I think we are sort of prone to listen to these high voices we think that are high up, but who put them there, and with what reason and what causes?
Can I jump in?
I have a quick question.
Just a minute, please. Who do you want to go first, QE? Me or him?
Hold on a sec. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. We're gonna go through everyone. So just relax. We'll just go right down the list. We'll start. Betty, you want to take the con and go down the list?
Well, if you insist.
Thank you.
We got almost exactly at the top. You have anything to add or to?
Hello.
Oh,
I just have a question.
Hold on a second. Wait 1 second before you offer your question. I gotta find you here. You just blew my eardrums out. My fault, not yours. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought my mic was really low actually. But can density layers be considered? I mean, the differences between them, could that be considered as a boundary?
No. Density layers of what?
Of the atmosphere.
Now, atmosphere is a contradiction in terms. Atmos, air,
Yep.
airs. Yeah, you already know that routine. Go ahead, Adam.
I'll quote Andrew Thomas Young. With regards to the rays, it does not cross any horizontal boundaries. A light ray when it's coming in between denser and less dense air in a stratified atmosphere. And I use that with permission here. Yeah. So Andrew Thomas Young is clearly stating that the stratified atmosphere does not constitute boundaries with regards to Snell's law. that would justify, which would be there, yeah. Otherwise, they say there might be some differences, but no, there's not that with regards to a stratified atmosphere. That's what I liked.
All right. Is that the question? Is that now resolved?
Yep. I'm
Okay.
satisfied.
Okay, you have something else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, good. Then we got Drace. Drace, you're off mute.
Thank you. I got nothing really yet to add. It's just excellent. I always enjoy these presentations. Very good.
Okay, thank you. And then we got John P. Ryan. You're off mute.
Yeah, same as Drace. I really appreciate you guys going over this, even though it's ad nauseum at some points, but it's good to hammer it back in, because I kind of mentioned after show last week that I've been out of school for over 25 years, and so having to dig back through my really faded memory about all the lessons that I had to learn just to pass the school to begin with. I was kind of a slacker back then anyway, but having to remember all these details and then apply it to reality. And that's one thing I never really did, was apply what I learned to reality. And so, like, I really appreciate the details that you guys put into these breakdowns to kind of help break down the arguments and then, help me understand it, the simple mind. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. That was it? I think so. Okay, we got Lino Tomo. I'm taking you off mute. You have anything to add or questions? No? Okay, we got Neil Constantino. Neil, are you there?
Neil Cosentino is very busy right now. Sorry, I can't talk.
Okay. Then we skip you and go to Phoenix Rising. Take you off mute now. You have anything to ask? To add?
No questions. I did miss the start of it though. I had to get out of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul? Paul, are you there?
I'm coming. I was coming. I was trying to find the mute button. I was on mute. I dropped 2 pictures into the live stream. I think Huey just deleted one of them, but I was going to try to point out something. The first one is the actual Snell's law bending light picture, and there's another one I actually showed the fish tank, but I think Huey deleted it. But I was actually going to make a point showing, like, on that one picture, there's a green dot on the picture, and it would show where if you was looking at that light from the position where the light is on hitting the bottom of the tank or whatever, so to speak, that's where the light would be.
Oh, you're recording.
Paul, you're roboting. Go to the next one.
Okay, we got Rob King. Take you off mute. You have anything to add? Questions? Hello, Rob. You there? No. Okay. Then we got Grat. It's flat.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick question. Doesn't infrared knock out like 99% of all refraction?
No.
Oh, really? Okay,
It's the least refracted wavelength. But your statement, it knocks out. No.
Okay. All right. Well, then that answers my question. Thanks.
The higher the frequency, the more refraction. Follow? So the lower frequency, like infrared, that's going to be long wavelength, right? The less refraction.
Okay.
But you follow that one?
But I mean, yeah, I think so. But shouldn't it like clear? Never mind. I think I understand what you're saying.
You got what I'm saying? Okay.
All right, we go back to Paul. He's back. Paul,
Can you hear me okay now? Can you hear me
Yeah.
okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. To make it sum up, in both the pictures I posted, there's there's one in a green dot in the actual Snell's law simulator, and there's one in the fish tank, and it's a yellow dot. What I was trying to represent with the dots is where the position of the light you would see it at, right? If you were looking at the light from the point where it hits, if you was looking at the light, and they always say the light is curving around the Earth. Well, if that's the case, visually, everything would have to be lifted up when they argue that. Because visually, that's where you would see it lifted up, risen up. So you would never see, even in their own paradigm, from their own argument, the geometric horizon. You can never see it. If it's because it's always, you're visually looking at where the light would be hitting you. It looks like it's going to be higher than it really is, if you understand what I'm driving at. The pictures are trying to illustrate where you would actually see the light, where it would look like the light would be. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? No, yes, maybe. Did I drop?
No, you didn't. No, sorry, I was on mute. What's the point?
Well, I'm just saying is even within their own paradigm, arguing that the light is bending around the Earth, terrestrial refraction.
Yeah.
Well, that means the horizon or everything would always look higher than it really is. But they always use the fish tank as the illustration of how it bends around. Well, visually, it would look higher, always look higher. If you're seeing when the light hits you, if you understand. That's why in the fish tank, I put a dot where you would see the light. If you were looking at it from the point where the light on the other side of the fish tank, if you're standing there looking at where the laser is coming from, you would visually look like it's higher in the tank than it really is.
I'll refer you to 5A, and I'll also point out that that's water with shed loads of glucose in it.
I agree, Adam.
Whether you want to use it to destroy the ball, is fine. But what you can't do is use it with regards to the atmosphere, which we talked about liquids, and this is a liquid bordering on solid point of view because of some of the saturation points within that, which is why you'll see the rate of bend is much lower, greater lower down than higher up. This is not analogous to anything with regards to light behavior in the atmosphere.
And I get that.
It's bad for us to use that because it defeats our point, doesn't it? It defeats our point. We're saying when they bring this up, that's nonsense. It makes no sense. So we shouldn't use it in the reverse because that's in a very rich glucose liquid, yeah, which is not in any way analogous to the atmosphere. So whatever it shows benefits us naught in our understanding of light in the atmosphere.
No, and I agree with you, Adam. The only point I'm making is if light is bending around and it hits your eye, it's going to appear higher than it really is.
Why is light
That's the only
bending
point I'm
around?
making. Well, I know. I'm talking about in their paradigm. That's all I'm arguing.
They don't have a.
I don't agree with it.
They don't have a paradigm.
Refraction.
Yeah. Well, I know you destroyed it, QE, but I mean, they always say we always do the Muppet vision, the side view. But what will you visually see if that was true? And that's what I'm driving at. If it's true what they're saying, then you can never see it because it's going to be always higher than it really is. That's the only point I'm making if their argument is true. I'll leave it there.
That's why that doesn't. All right. So light's supposed to bend in their world at 7/6R. Number one, there's no R on that flat fish tank. Yeah. All you've got is some nonsense density gradient and then a light beam introduced at an angle. All it shows you is refraction. And not much, really, considering all the perversion you've put in there. Look how it straightens out. It's of no benefit to us, to me, mate, that. And using it. And there's enough demolition. We don't have to presuppose what their bullshit would turn out like. Where we would presuppose their bullshit would turn out with our bullshit corrections of their bullshit. It's just bullshit.
I mean, I agree, though. I guess all I'm saying is if they start invoking refraction, they just shot themselves in the foot. And that's what we've been saying for a while now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, as soon as they do that.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. We need to tell them what refraction is, because in their world, refraction is that thing bending to your yellow dot. In reality, because of stuff, gravity, whatever, you know what I mean? That's why it's not worth entertaining anymore, because we didn't have the knowledge before to just say, don't be silly. Yeah, this is what refraction is. Unless you want to go away and define your terrestrial refraction, yeah, which is what's required for you to make this outlandish claim, then stop it, because you've got no backing otherwise. We don't have to, like in the days of the Isle of Man. Yeah, put up with the nonsense. We understand it now, and we don't have to humour it. And not the nonsense, their ignorance in a lot of cases. Their complete ignorance. We're able to demonstrate and enlighten them. And that's what hurts them the most. That flat earthers are now enlightening them with the truth. The science in some cases, yeah? And also the bloody obvious in a lot. Why we can't get a decent conversation out of them anymore.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand. Do they actually say that everything we see is not where we see it? Is
Yes.
that what they're claiming?
Yes.
Okay, so if that was true, how would a sniper hit anything?
Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I already told them this hundreds of times, that if what they said was true, that Adam called it bullshit, then all the world's militaries would be rendered null. That it be academic, it would be non sequitur.
Tell you what, let's have a war with them. Let them use their way. We'll use our way, and let's see who wins.
We can't be having wars, Neil.
Paintball. We'll do
Paintball. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Scrat. You're right on it. Yes. Good. Anything else?
I just don't understand how they can actually think. I don't get it. I mean, they completely abandon logic and reason, and I don't know. It's just frustrating for me.
No, you're all over it. You're exactly correct. It's frustrating, right? Because that's what it is. So all we can do is just show it in spades, and then guess what? A little later this afternoon, guess what I'm going to hear? Refraction. Did Betty do it?
Yeah, I
might hear it now.
Two voices.
Yeah, Scrat, you're all over it. Thank you. All right, did we miss anyone, Betty?
Well, Shines came in. Maybe she wants to chime in and has something to say. Let me see if I can unmute her. Hi, Shines.
Hi, everyone.
Oh,
just
great.
presentation as usual. You are amazing, and I'm just tired of them claiming that this is just semantics and that words don't have any meaning, and we don't know the difference between bending and divergence, and it's so silly. And I know that this is just going to continue for a long time on, and I don't know if a lot of people will ever get it, because we are in that, anti-flat earth community. Like, they just refuse to listen to what's so obvious. So yeah, more great information, and hopefully maybe some people will become sane and come into reality. We'll see though.
That's wishful thinking. I like that, Betty. Can you invite more people to come in, and then when they come in, say, "Hello, I'm here."
It seems that you have a sort of a hearing problem in the sense that everything is too loud for you. Huh?
Yeah, it's showing everyone that comes in has their volume turned up a lot. So this is good.
That you have your volume for the income of the how do you say that? How your sound is transferred to you. That's too high up, maybe.
Well, there's a balance, cutie. Between
well, the balance, you crossed it.
yeah, there's a balance. We're going to get into shop talk. Nathan will love this. There's a balance between what goes out to YouTube and then what comes to me, and I want it to what goes out to YouTube as reasonable. And
sure.
If it is reasonable, I have to turn you up because I can't hear people.
Yeah.
So my speakers are.
But everybody was too loud.
Yeah.
Usually it's too low, and now they're too loud.
Yeah, every single person that could. So just start inviting people in, Betty, because you like it. And make sure QE hears you.
Oh, let me see what I can do for you.
Oh, it doesn't matter with you, Shines. You could turn it down. It doesn't matter. If I have you cranked, I'm toast. And you weren't the only one. Every single person today. So it's been a lot of fun.
We got some other person, but he's on deaf and mute. But you don't want to hear him.
Yeah, that's where that's where he'll stay.
All right. Okay, well, I think that we had all the people in here that could talk and have tried to talk, except for a couple of people. Oh, there we got Rob. Hi, Rob.
Sorry, I can't talk. I got a really bad mic.
So how's that sound, Quantum?
Yeah, it was loud. I was struggling to get him. Of course, I was right in the middle of a message to somebody. I'm struggling to get him, and he just stopped. But that's all right. I got him. I got you, Rob.
Sorry.
You should be good to go.
You want to add something?
Not really. My mic's really bad. It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
All right. I got another super chat that I wanted to shout out. It's from Lumpy Gas in a Vacuum. And he says, thanks, QE. And
Thank you.
He said it mid-presentation, but I think it's good at the end.
Thanks, Lump. He said, what's the name? Lump. I can go look 1 second.
Lumpy Gas in a Vacuum.
Lumpy Gas in a Vacuum. Love it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, it was a long run this time.
Yeah, it was a longer one this time. Everything's going really good. It might be about 3 or 4 weeks, to get everyone in sound line, but I think that this was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have yourself anything to add? What's next BALLBUSTERS about?
Next BALLBUSTER, I forgot to tell Adam and Nathan. That was I was gonna say something and I got it. It was in the morning. I wasn't thinking straight. They requested for BALLBUSTERS that we, because there's a lot of new people, according to them, that's on the scene. So to go back into the science presentation, they wanted something, specific, and I'm not going to do the science presentation without doing the whole thing. So Adam, I'm going to do the whole thing, man.
Fair enough. If you want to, no, fair enough. I understand. You want to present something properly. Sometimes you have to. So
yeah, I'm going to present. Yeah, we'll go in for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll just be talking science on BALLBUSTERS. No problem. I don't have an issue with it.
On science now?
Say again?
Are we camping out with science now?
We're going to drop anchor in science again. Yes.
Drop anchor.
Yeah.
Or camping out.
Drop an anchor in natural science. It's a heavy anchor. It's going to be hard to lift up.
Mm. But didn't we do that hundreds of thousands of times again?
Yes, but it appears, like I said, we have new people in. It's not a bad thing to go back and review those principles and concepts. It's not a bad thing at all.
Right. Yeah, because you can sort of apply it to all kinds of other different things that they are claiming to be true right now in this minute.
Yes. Yep. So I'm looking forward to anything talking about the scientific method and anything, the one that I created. I enjoy talking about that.
Oh, yeah, your scientific method, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Might as well take ownership of it since
nobody else does.
Yeah, they're saying that it's mine. I've heard a number of times that it's mine. I appreciate that. Yeah, Drace is saying the same. Drace is saying the same thing.
Variable?
Oh God.
Is it with the independent variable or the independable variable?
According to you, it's the independable variable.
You can't depend on it.
Yeah, so even Drace in the chat, he's saying that, yeah, they keep telling us it's my method, QE's method, so I might as well take ownership of it then.
Maybe you can put out a paper as well then, like that Andrew Thomas Young did. Everybody, begok you.
Begok, you can't do the begok right. You need practice on that.
Oh, the hell.
Well, if it's your method, couldn't they just say you're just wrong?
They do.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, they just say it. That's the difference between them and I. I don't say it. I support it. And demonstrate it, by the way. That's very important. Anyone can say anything, right?
I got another super chat for you.
Go ahead, Betty.
It's from Peter Clark, and he says, Rumpus is an utter moronic sophist.
Who's Rumpus?
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, let's wrap it up. Adam, any final thought?
At least he super chatted for you.
Say again?
At least thank the guy that super chatted.
Well, yeah, I thought it. Didn't I thank him?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, well, thank you very much. And I didn't see it. Why that didn't pop up on my... Oh, there he is. Now it popped up. Peter Clark. Yep. Appreciate it, Peter Clark. Hope you guys got a lot out of the presentation. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's get Adam any final thoughts, and make sure we get Adam shouting out his channel. He's got a couple good videos on there. Adam's starting to ramp things up, right?
Thank you, sir. That I did plan to do that. I'm going to post it in chat in a second. Yeah. On tonight, yeah, I've enjoyed it. Like I say, 5A for me is beautiful. You can seed all you like and then take them to 5A, and their priest says what they're claiming does not happen. Nonsense. So we can forget all about the supposed terrestrial refraction and concentrate on what we understand that's validated with regards to refraction. And I'm more than happy to accept proven understanding of refraction and what it is. Even if it includes the two-way speed of light.
Yeah.
As a ratio.
Yeah, that's a stumbling block. I knew it would be. I knew I had to go over it. Yeah.
I'm happy. That's why I gave the prefix the as a ratio. We're not invoking it. We're just using it both ways for everything, and then defining that ratio that we've applied to everything. So I don't have a problem. Like I said, that's why I interjected. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't involve me questioning measuring the speed of light. It's a ratio within a device.
Yes.
Okay, so whatever that thing's doing, whether it's the speed of light, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's a ratio within a device. That's cool, as long as each thing that we define the ratio's got the same parameters, and that's how it's been derived.
Yes.
The validating thing is that the angles do have a similar ratio. So.
Correct. Yes.
So that that I like it. But like I say, 5A for me. That's all I'd say on this evening. Other than that, yeah, if I could shout I've obviously got my channel, the Adam Meakin, which I've had for ages. But what I've wanted to do is I've started a new one. What (?) is the world? And Nathan, all of that is in lowercase now. I've changed it thanks to Nathan's bequest. So I'm just kind of putting my thoughts down there, kind of trying to do episodes, just covering certain topics. The first one was kind of the instigator, really born out of what Brian was doing with regards to Wolfie and certain flights and stuff I've done in the past. The next one's a little bit more considered, and hopefully kind of highlights the two sides, what we've learned over the time, what we know, what's demonstrable, what's provable, and what the high priests of the globe spout as the rhetoric that's the reason you should think it's a ball. And it's a kind of a juxtaposition of those two things.
Cool.
Need to make your own mind up. Yeah, so that's what is the world, and I'll stick it in chat now and spam it a sec. Thanks, John.
That was perfect timing, honey.
Finish another banana.
No. I'm talking to my wife. She just came in and tore a piece of paper off the door in here. That's too funny. Perfect timing. Yeah, thanks, Adam. Everyone sign up for Adam. Adam, are you spamming that in the chat?
Done it once, I'm going to do it again. There you go.
Please, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And watch and please sub and share if you could. I'd appreciate it. I'm still on low numbers there.
Oh, we'll get that going, Adam. No problem. Everyone should be subscribing.
Yeah, I liked your last one, right? Where you sort of put Neil deGrasse Tyson, that other guy, what was it? The physics guy, Bill Nye, the physics guy.
Right.
I like it when you sort of let them talk and other people talk, and it's good. It's kind of nice to hear these people having these stupid representations of a boat going over the curve of the horizon on a table. It's so stupid.
As QE said, sometimes the best response is to just let them talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Betty, take us home.
Yeah, I want to thank all the super chatters because there were some amazing super chatters here. Please don't be shy for super chatting because I will shout them out, unless it's vile language, of course. But I think the Rumpus guy was a little bit over the edge, but okay. So people, thanks for that. And I usually have to shout out Nathan with his channel, so with Nathan Oakley 1980, and then to a debate, but I haven't seen him yet. So has he been here, guys?
Yeah,
so
I seen him earlier.
Yeah, but he didn't spam his show, did he?
I did not see it, so I'm not sure about that. He might have gotten busy. Let me check one more time.
Yeah, maybe if he has a show, go and check it out. If he has a show, and subscribe so that you never miss one.
It's premiering now, Nathan Oakley channel, Flat Earth Debate 1467, Uncut and After Show. So that's on now.
Okay. So he's running it now. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can, when this is done, go over to that one.
I'll check if he's in the chat, but yeah, I'll have a look.
You ever wondered what actor?
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for being here, and see you next time at the BALLBUSTERS. Over to you, John.
Over to you. Really? All right, I guess I'll take it. All right, I want to thank the panel. Appreciate that. For the folks that are listening in, yeah, we're getting the sound squared away. Sorry for the initial ones, but I'm usually pretty sharp on that, pretty quick to get the audio squared away. It'll take a little time, but just be patient. We'll get it squared away. with their refraction or terrestrial refraction, hold these guys. If they say refraction, hold them to it. Have them define it and have them show you. Listen, I said the easiest one was 1A, but you could take any of them. I don't mind. But as long as you take it to them. Okay, don't let them get away with refraction. Don't do it. Right? Go ahead and hold their toes to the fire. Thanks again, guys. So, take no prisoners. No quarter will be asked. None shall be given. And remember, I'll be back.